300 years ago, a terrifying creature named Tai appears, destroying any living being that stands before him, and his existence was a danger to all humanity. But suddenly the hero Yin appears and faces him alone, and he manages to seal him and stop his threat, and life returns to normal again. And after 300 years, we see a young man named Zhao going to apply to the college of his dreams. But as soon as he goes to the employee there, he discovers that the application is tomorrow, not today. So he asks him about any hotel so he can sleep in it until morning. So the employee points him to one close to them. So he takes his things and goes there, and he finds it in a narrow and small street. And as soon as he arrives, he sees a strange and mysterious old man coming down from the stairs. But he is the owner of the hotel and his name is Juan. And he welcomes him and takes the bag to lead him to the room. But as soon as Zhao steps one step into the place, he sees very strange things. But he does not care much and goes up with Juan, and when he reaches the room and sees it, he refuses to stay in it, because it is very old and dirty, and he takes his bag to leave. So Juan goes to the window and opens it, and a very beautiful view of the city appears, and Gao likes it very much, to the point that he decides that he will stay in the room. And as soon as he turns his face, he sees a strange and terrifying painting, and he asks him to remove it from here. So Juan goes to it and removes it indeed, but they are both surprised by the presence of a large hole behind it, so they look through it, and they see a girl sitting, so Juan is shocked, because what is behind this wall is the corridor, and it is supposed that this girl lives on the floor above, meaning it is impossible to see her through this hole. And after that Gao goes down to look for food for himself, so Juan warns him that he must return to the hotel before 12 o'clock. But Zhao does not care about his words, and he goes to the city and walks in its streets, and buys all the food he wants, and after he finishes, he returns to the hotel again. But when he looks at the clock he finds that it passed 12, and suddenly a very large number of insects appear and surround him, so Zhao gets scared and stands in his place. But suddenly a strange light appears that makes all the insects run away at once. So Zhao looks behind him and sees a strange person standing looking at him. But quickly Juan opens the hotel door so Gao can enter. But Gao tries to explain to him what happened. But when he looks at the man again he finds that he disappeared mysteriously. So Zhao thinks that he is hallucinating because he wants to sleep, and he does not care about the matter. But suddenly a person falls from the top of the hotel, and he starts moving exactly like a zombie. So Zhao decides that he will go after him, so he can catch him before something happens to him. And he keeps watching him and filming him to see what he will do. So he finds him going toward the lake and going down into it. So he runs quickly toward him to catch him, and he manages to reach him at the right time. But suddenly terrifying people appear and surround Gao. So he looks around him and finds the same person he saw appearing again, and suddenly Gao is pulled down, and a giant insect comes from behind him and tries to eat him. But Zhao resists with all his strength. And suddenly that strange person comes and grabs him, and throws him onto the shore. So many small insects appear and surround him. But that person manages to blow them up, and he clashes with the giant insect, and cuts a part of its body, and jumps into the air and stabs that part into its eye, and he manages to finish it completely. And at the same time, Zhao is looking at this battle, and he decides to run away quickly, because he is afraid for himself. But he notices that this giant insect bit him, and its poison started spreading in his body, and suddenly he faints. And on the next day, Zhao wakes up from sleep terrified, and he quickly looks for the injury that was in his leg, but he does not find it, and he opens his phone to check the videos that he filmed, but he does not find them either. So he tells himself that this is surely just a dream, and he gets up to get ready and go to register in the college. And while he is preparing his things, he hears on the news that the water of the lake in the city disappeared suddenly, without any reason. So Zhao becomes very surprised, and he starts asking himself whether he is dreaming or not. But he does not care and turns off the television, and says goodbye to Juan and leaves immediately. And after that he goes to the college while he is excited to apply to it. But when he goes to the employee working there, he discovers that the dormitory is full, and there is not even a single bed for him. So Zhao gets very angry, and he is forced to return to the hotel again, so he can stay another night in it. And when he returns again, he sees the girl that he saw yesterday whose name is Awa, and he discovers that she is the president of the student union in the college. And he learns from her that the university received a large number of students this year, and unfortunately there are no places now. And after that she leaves him and walks away. And Zhao talks with Juan, then from above the young man whom Zhao saved yesterday suddenly comes down, whose name is Zai, so both of them get startled. And Zhao says to him, "Do you not remember me? I am the one who saved you yesterday." And as soon as Zhao takes one step inside the hotel so he can get closer to him, he sees himself standing on a magic circle and red threads coming out of it. So Zhao gets scared and tells Juan about what he saw. So Juan gets shocked when he hears his words, and he gets closer to him and asks for his card so he can see it, and when he takes it from him, he says to himself, "It seems that the hotel is the one that chose you." And on the other side, there is a person who wants to buy the hotel from Juan, but Juan is completely refusing, so he sends his men there so they can drive away the customers and force Juan to sell the hotel to him. And after a while, Zhao is sitting on his bed and feeling terrified, but suddenly he sees the hole that he saw before, next to his bed, so Zhao gets very startled, and he tries to get closer to it, but suddenly he finds himself standing on the magic circle, and strange threads are coming out of it, and when he looks behind him, he sees the same person who saved him yesterday from the giant insect, writing his name and his date of birth. And suddenly Zhao wakes up from sleep, and he feels that he has been seeing strange dreams lately, and he gets up to wash his face, but suddenly a girl named Yu breaks into his room and kicks him with her leg, and she asks him to leave and get out of the hotel immediately. So Zhao gets up from the ground, and he takes his bag so he can leave, but he surprises her and hits her with the bag, but Yu is not affected and gets angry at him, so Zhao runs quickly and goes up to the floor above to Awa, and as soon as Yu sees her, she rushes at her so she can hit her as well, but Awa knows how to use martial arts, and she hits her hard and throws her away. So Yu gets up quickly while she is angry, and she clashes with her. But it is clear that Awa is much stronger than her, and she keeps hitting her very fast, and she manages to defeat her. And on the other side, Juan is sitting in his room, but suddenly, a strange person appears and throws wooden arrows at him, and he has the ability to move anything from a distance. But Juan manages to dodge the arrows and the things that are thrown at him, and he throws a magical paper at him that creates an explosion, and he comes from behind him so he can hit him. But this man manages to control his body, and he slams him into the wall, and pins him with a wooden arrow in his hand. And he shows him his body and tells him, I did not come here so I can make you sell the hotel. I am a dead person, and I came so I can increase my lifespan. I want the thing that you are hiding under this hotel. So Juan tries to take out a magical paper so he can throw it at him, but the dead man manages to take it from him, and he slams him into the wall again and steals the rings that are in his hand, so he can go down under the hotel. And at the same time, a third person from the gang appears in Zai's room, and he thinks that there is no one in the room, so he takes his things and leaves. But suddenly Zai appears to him and hits him, and he runs after him so he can finish him off, but they meet the dead man in front of them, so his friend calls for his help. But suddenly he throws a wooden arrow at him and kills him, because he is not interested in the hotel. And when the dead man goes up to the upper floor, he sees the red threads that will extend his life in Zhao, and he takes out an arrow and throws it at Awa. So Zhao looks at Awa while she is drowned in her blood. So the man tells him, if I absorb your energy, I will increase my lifespan again. And he rushes at him quickly, so Zhao gets up and runs quickly, and he feels that his body has become faster than before, and he goes up to the roof so he can escape. But the dead man chases him and throws many things at him. But Zhao gets up again, and he manages to remove a sofa from on him and throws it, and he looks at his hand and finds that his wounds are healing on their own. So Zhao gets shocked because he does not understand what is happening to him. And suddenly the dead man comes from behind him and grabs him, and he tells him, it seems that you still do not know what the power of Tai inside your body can do. And he starts pulling a strange energy from him, and says, finally I will return to life again. But suddenly the person who saved Zhao before appears, and grabs this man's head and throws him away. So the dead man gets shocked as soon as he sees him, and he keeps apologizing to him. And the surprise is that the man who saved Gao is the hero Yin who defeated Tai 300 years ago. So Yin asks the dead man to take himself and leave from here immediately. So the dead man gets up to leave, but suddenly, he stops at the door and decides that he will absorb Gao's energy, because he does not want to waste the chance that I return to life again. And he removes his cloak and his skeleton appears. And he rushes at Zhao quickly so he can absorb his energy. But Yin grabs his head and pulls it from its place, and throws his body from above the hotel, and he goes to Gao so he can talk with him. But suddenly, the dead man throws at him an arrow from his arrows, and appears in front of him again after he took over the body of his companion. And he tries to rush at Zhao again, but Yin is protecting him, and he blocks all his attacks and throws him away. But the dead man does not give up, and he gets up again and tries once more, and throws many arrows at him and rushes at him at the same time. But Yin manages to dodge the strikes, and uses his power in one strike, and he manages to affect him strongly, and he comes from behind him and restrains him. So the dead man asks him to forgive him and pardon him, but Yin does not believe him and gathers his energy so he can kill him. So the dead man says, I do not want to die before I know who used Tai's needle and killed my whole family. And suddenly Yin releases him, and asks him about this Tai needle, so he tells him about his past. And we return to the past. At that time this dead man had already died, but his mother did not surrender, and she searched until she found the cure that could bring him back to life again. And she takes out that needle and stabs it into certain veins, and she leaves the dead man alone for a while. And after a week, the dead man wakes up again, and he looks at his hand and finds it soaked with blood, and he gets up quickly so he can see what happened, and he finds his whole family dead, and he goes to his mother and hugs her and cries, and he notices in her hand Ty's needle. And we return to the present, and Yin tells him, I will fulfill your wish and take you to Tai, and he grabs him and transports him there immediately. So Tai's threads grab him, and the man becomes happy because he will be able to increase his lifespan again. But suddenly Tai pulls all his energy from him, so the man gets shocked and screams from the intensity of the pain. And after that, Yin returns to Zhao again, and throws the dead man's head from above. So Zhuan comes and hugs the hero Yin. So Zhao remembers that Awa was injured by an arrow from the dead man, and he feels terrified because he thinks she died. But suddenly he sees her in front of him, and he knows that she was pretending to be dead only. But suddenly, the dead man appears for the third time, after he took control over another body, and he tries to hit Yin with his arrow, but Gao stands in front of him and the strike comes in his neck, and quickly Yin grabs the man by his head, and uses his tremendous energy, and finally he manages to break the needle that brings him back again. And after that he goes to Zhao so he can check on him, but he finds him completely unconscious. And after a while Zhao wakes up from sleep, and he finds himself standing in front of Tai, and he asks, am I dead or not? So Yin replies to him, you can never die at all. And when Zhao looks in front of him, he sees Tai for the first time, and he becomes extremely terrified from his appearance. Yin tells him that Tai can bring you back every time you die, and that is because you have become a part of his body. Yesterday you were supposed to drown in the lake, but Tai rebuilt your body again, and that is the only reason that made you alive. You have become a part of him now. You are here in the hotel in which Tai has been sealed for 300 years. But Zhao refuses to believe the words, and he wants to leave so he can see his college. But Yin lets him know that it is impossible to leave this hotel, because he has become bound to Tai forever. And on the next day, Zhao prepares himself to go to the college, but he is afraid and nervous to go out from the hotel. But he tries to gather his courage and leaves the place, and as soon as he goes out he finds himself living normally and nothing happened. So he becomes very happy and runs quickly so he can go to the college. And suddenly while he is walking, Zhao falls to the ground suddenly, and he finds that red threads are coming out of his leg, and they transform in a strange and terrifying way, so Zhao feels severe pain and faints. And when he opens his eyes again, he finds himself with Tai, and he learns from Yin that every time he dies he will return to this place again, because without Tai's protection he would be just a corpse. But Gao tries not to believe this, and he tries again and again to leave the hotel in any way, but every time he dies and fails. So Zhao sits on the ground very sad, because he wanted to go to the college that he had been dreaming of for years, and he starts asking himself what he will do if he wants to eat or even visit his family. But he decides that he will not give up, and he tries to leave the hotel again, and when his body starts collapsing, he resists with all his strength for his dream that he fought for. And at the same time, Yin feels sorry for Gao, and he decides that he will give him a magical paper so he can move outside the hotel freely. So Zhao hugs him strongly and thanks him, and he promises him that he will return after he registers in the college. And on the next day, Zhao decides that he will escape from this city, and will not go to the college at all, as soon as the train arrives, and he rides it so he can return to his home. But suddenly a strange man passes in front of him, and he hits the ground with his foot, and suddenly Tai, who is inside Zhao, wakes up. So Zhao feels a strange sensation, and when he looks at his hand he finds that it has turned into Tai's threads, and it wants to absorb the life of the person sitting in front of him. So Zhao tries to resist it with all his strength before the man notices, and he manages after suffering to control it finally. And as soon as the train reaches its destination, Zhao gets down from the carriage quickly, and goes to the bathroom and closes it well behind him so no one enters on him, and looks for a solution for the threads that are coming out of him. But unfortunately there is a cleaner who hears a loud noise in the bathroom, so he enters so he can check on whoever is inside. But at the same time Tai has gotten out of Gao's control, so Zhao quickly asks the worker to leave before it is too late, but the worker stands in his place. And Tai comes out of Gao's body and starts attacking him, but suddenly Yin appears and uses his power and destroys Tai, and returns it into Gao's body again, and goes toward him and takes him and returns to the hotel again. And when Zhao wakes up he finds himself with Tai, and he learns from Yin that the magical paper has a specific time limit, and the maximum time he can stay outside is only 6 hours, so he tells him if the time ends while you are outside Tai's protection, you will die forever, and you will not be able to come back to life again. And after that Yin throws him out of the place. And then Zhao wakes up in his bed, and he decides that he will try to get a lot of magical papers so he can be able to go out of the building. And while he is thinking, his phone falls under the bed, so he bends down so he can get it. But suddenly he finds a very large number of paintings under the bed. So he becomes surprised by all that number, and he takes them out so he can see them. And he finds that they are drawings of Yin, and the features of his face are scribbled on. and he finds some paintings also written with blood, that Yin is a war criminal and killed his clan, and while he is reading, a red paper falls on the ground. So he opens it and finds a map of a village that has a place called the Altar of the Dead. And immediately Gao manages to take a magical paper from Yin, and he goes with Zai to that place, and he finds in the map a strange symbol, also present on the magical paper, that he takes from Yin. So the two of them enter the village, and start searching for the Altar of the Dead, but after a lot of searching they do not find anything. So Zhao stands for a while to rest and puts his hand on the entrance of the village, and suddenly Tai's threads start coming out of him, and go to the strange symbol that is present on the entrance, and quickly Zhao goes to Zai and asks for his help so he can go up, and indeed Zai helps him and lifts him up, but as soon as Zhao touches that symbol, suddenly he sees terrifying things of murdered humans, and suddenly a giant hole opens and the two of them are thrown into it, and as soon as they reach its bottom, they find themselves in front of a secret gate written on it the Altar of the Dead, and also Yin is forbidden from entering it, and next to the gate there are two statues of giant soldiers, and as soon as they enter inside the place lights up suddenly, so the two of them get scared but they continue on their way. And after they walk a little, they hear the sound of terrifying footsteps, so they move carefully, and suddenly a person appears at once named Guan, and he is a scientist and the surprise is that he is the cousin of Wan, and he warns them about the creatures that are in front of them. So when the two of them look to the other side, they find that there are two ghost soldiers running after them. But Zai manages to hit both of them, but suddenly they are surprised by a large number of ghosts coming at them, so they all start running quickly. But suddenly Zhao trips and falls to the ground, but Guan and Zai manage to hit the monsters and run to the other side, because there are ghosts that appeared in the path that they were running in, so Guan shows them a place that they can escape from. But as soon as they reach there they find a dead end, and unfortunately the ghosts surround them. But suddenly Zhao presses on a stone unintentionally, and he manages to open a hole under the ghosts and they fall into it. And suddenly a door opens in front of them, and as soon as they enter they find themselves in a strange place, full of symbols that are the same as the ones on the magical paper. So Guan tells them that this symbol belongs to Yin's clan, and the place that we are in is the real village, and the one that you saw above is the fake one. It was buried underground, and all of this is because of Yin, because 300 years ago he sought the throne, and killed his brothers and his father, and slaughtered hundreds of innocent people, and there was another reason that he is hiding. But Gao does not believe this, especially since Yin has been saving him from death all the time. And on the other side, Yin reaches the secret gate that is outside, and as soon as he tries to enter inside, suddenly the two soldiers on the gate wake up so they can hit him and stop him, and the surprise is that those two are Yin's older brothers. And they approach him and try to hit him, but Yin dodges their attacks, and he looks at the gate and runs quickly toward it, because he does not want to face them, but his brothers stop him strongly. So Yin is forced to use his power to strike them, but he is not able to harm them because he loved them very much, but they hit him and throw him away. So Yin gets up and is forced to face them because he has no other solution. But every time he tries to destroy them he stops at the last moment, but in the end Yin uses a spell from his spells and restrains them and throws them into each other, and he manages to defeat them finally. And at the same time, Guan points at a picture of Tai, and they learn from him that for Tai to remain alive, a person must feed him with his body, and that Yin wanted to monopolize him for himself. That is why he killed his family and thousands of humans. And that is the reason that he was hiding. But Zhao refuses to believe this about Yin as well. So Guan presses on a secret switch and opens a door, and they find strange symbols and shapes. And when they read them they learn that thousands of years ago Tai came down to the earth with a meteor, and he started destroying all humanity. But suddenly a hero appeared and managed to defeat Tai, and return peace to the world again. So Zhao thinks for a while with himself, and he expects that Yin is the new hero who will defeat Tai again, because he has been fighting him all the time. And while they are talking, they see a group of statues of girls with terrifying appearances, so Zhao becomes very scared that they will move and run after them, but Guan reassures him that they are just statues only, and he tells them that Yin used to take these girls and offer them to Tai so he can eat them, and as soon as the three of them pass next to them, the girls move suddenly. And quickly they all start running, but the girls throw magical energy at them. But they manage to dodge it and continue on their way, and they manage to escape from them. But they meet on their way a group of ghosts coming at them, so Guan takes off his cloak and increases his power greatly, and he brings out a group of rockets and throws them at them, and destroys them completely. So Zhao becomes surprised because he did not use these rockets from the beginning, but Guan was waiting for the right moment, especially since he does not have other rockets, and suddenly a group of ghosts comes and runs after them. So they take themselves and escape quickly, and they reach a place that has 8 doors, and there is only one door that they must go through, because the other 7 doors are traps, and if they enter them they will die immediately. So Guan thinks for a while so he can know which door is the path. But the ghosts have reached them, and if they stay more than that they will die. So Gao is forced to pull Guan, and they enter any door so they can escape from them. And they find inside it a long path, and at its end a secret door. And the surprise is that this door has Tai's core, and as soon as Zhao reaches there he feels a strange sensation, as if Tai is calling him from inside. So Zhao opens the door. And suddenly all the restraints that Yin made to stop Tai are broken, and he takes control over Gao's body, and quickly Yin cuts Gao's hand before he connects with him. But the time has already passed, and a third eye appears in Zhao's head, and Tai's fusion with Gao's body is completed officially, and he rushes at Yin so he can kill him. But Yin hits him and throws him away, and goes to him and clashes with him, and tries to pin him in his place. But suddenly red threads appear and push Yin away from Zhao, so Yin uses his energy and manages to destroy them, and he takes out his sword and rushes at Tai again, and cuts all the threads around him, and stabs the sword into Zhao's heart, and creates a barrier on him so Tai cannot control him easily. So Guan goes to Yin and apologizes to him because he misunderstood him, and that he actually turned out to be fighting Tai, not trying to monopolize him for himself and take his power. And he realizes that he is the hero who is supposed to defeat him. But Yin takes Zhao and leaves immediately. And on the next day Gao is in a strange world and sitting drawing. But suddenly he hears a voice calling him, and suddenly the place turns all into the color red. But immediately Zhao wakes up from sleep, and he finds Zhouan and Guan in front of him, so Zhao tries to ask him about what happened yesterday. But Guan pretends that he did not see him even once, so Zhao feels that he was dreaming only and nothing more. So he goes into the bathroom so he can wash his face, but he finds a bandage on his head so he asks himself while surprised what happened to him. And he removes it quickly but he does not find any sign of a wound. And suddenly Zhao gets a severe headache, and he remembers scenes from what happened yesterday, and when he looks at the mirror, he imagines a third eye in his head, so he gets very scared but when he focuses he does not find anything. And after that Zhao goes out with Zhuan and Guan to the roof, so they can have a barbecue party. So Zhao looks at the food and remembers himself when he first came to the hotel. And he becomes sad about his condition and wipes his tears. And on the other side Awa is on her way to the hotel, but suddenly the girl that she fought before appears behind her, and jumps on her and hits her, and she wants to take revenge on her, because she insulted her the last time, and she rushes at her and tries to hit her, but Awa grabs her and punches her hard in her stomach and throws her away, and she takes herself and leaves. And after that she goes up to the hotel and spends a pleasant time with the rest. And at the same time, the man who tried to awaken Tai in Zhao's body, while he is inside the train sitting in his headquarters, whose name is Xiao, is planning how to make Tai take control over Gao's body, but his leader warns him about the hero Yin, because he will destroy all his plans and will save Gao every time. And on the next day, Zhao finds a message that the last deadline to register in the college is in 2 more days, so Zhao thinks about how to take magical papers from Yin so he can go out, but suddenly Yin appears in front of him, and lets him know that he will not be able to leave the hotel no matter what happens, and also he will keep watching him all the time. And indeed Yin carries out his threat, and keeps watching him in almost every place they go, and he even sleeps next to him in the room so he does not go anywhere. And while they are sleeping, Zhao thinks out loud about how to take the magical papers from him and escape, so Yin hears him and tells him, "You no longer need any magical papers to leave the hotel. Tai has become part of your body now, and he will use you so he can escape from the secret place that I sealed him in for 300 years. You can move with complete freedom. But actually if you try to escape from me, I will not hesitate to kill you, because then you will be a danger to the whole world." And after that Zhao goes to sleep, and he dreams that he is walking with his grandfather who died, and talking, because he had promised him that he would apply to this college, but he failed, and suddenly his grandfather disappears from beside him, so Zhao cries and wishes that he could live like any normal human being. And on the next day Zhao tries to persuade Yin so he can agree that he goes to the college. But suddenly Yin agrees in a strange way, and we learn that he used his magic and knew the dream that he was dreaming yesterday. But he makes a condition on Zhao that he will go with him himself, so in case anything happens, he kills him immediately. And after that the two of them go down so they can buy college supplies. But as soon as they go down to the street, people gather around Yin and take pictures of him, because his appearance and clothes are not like the current time. So Zhao takes him and they go to a clothing store, and Zhao chooses something for him according to his taste, and buys him ice cream and gives it to him. So Yin looks at the ice cream and remembers his older brothers, when they used to give him something sweet when he cried. And while they are walking, they meet Awa on their way, so Awa guides them to a place so Zhao can buy his college things from it. But as soon as they go there, Zhao feels that the place is very cold. And we learn that this place used to have strange things happening in it, and workers used to die in it in a mysterious and frightening way. Besides people who found themselves on the edge of falling from a high place while they were shopping. But Zhao does not care about her words and keeps walking. But while they are walking, Zhao feels a strange wind passing next to him, and when he looks behind him he does not find anything. And suddenly he finds himself on the edge of falling from a high place. So he gets scared and steps back, and when he looks around he does not find Yin nor Awa beside him, nor even any person present in the place, as if this place has been abandoned for years. So Zhao keeps running in the place and calling for them, but he does not find any of them. And on the other side, Yin and Awa are in the middle of the place, and they hear Gao's voice calling them. So Yin asks Awa to leave, and he will go look for Gao by himself. But suddenly a magic circle appears on the ground, and two monsters come out of it, so Awa tries to escape quickly, but she crashes into a hidden wall. And at the same time, Zhao feels ground tremors, and hears the sound of the monsters, so Zhao tries to find an exit so he can escape, especially since there is a dangerous creature inside his body, and Yin is not with him. And during that, Yin and Awa try to fight these two monsters, but these monsters have tremendous power, and they are not affected by the strikes easily. So Yin grabs one monster and uses his energy so he can kill it, but the monster brings out something sharp from its body and wounds him. So Yin runs and waits for the two monsters until they stand next to each other, and throws his energy at them and destroys them. And he looks at the wound in his hand, and finds that it is Tai's power that absorbs the energy of the person, and suddenly two other monsters appear stronger than the previous ones, and they bind Yin with the chains that they have. But quickly Awa goes to one of them and hits him, so Yin manages to free himself from them, takes out his sword and kills both of them. And at the same time, Zhao becomes very tired while he is searching for a place to escape from, and he lies down on the ground so he can rest a little. But suddenly he hears the sounds of a battle, and when he looks at the ground he sees traces of blood falling, and he also notices the presence of traces of sword strikes. So he realizes that there is another dimension besides the real world. And suddenly Tai starts to take control over Gao's body, and when the third eye appears, Zhao becomes able to see Yin and Awa while they are fighting the monsters. But he notices Tai's threads coming out from under the ground and feeding the monsters, so he decides that he will go down so he can see what is there. And when he reaches there, he finds the place strange, and there is a girl flying in the air, whose name is Zi. So he calls out to her and gets closer to her. But suddenly Tai's threads appear above her and supply her with energy, and suddenly this girl is controlled by Xiao. So Zhao tries to escape from the place, but suddenly Xiao appears in front of him and points to the field next to him, and tells him all of this is energy feeding the Tai inside your body. Once you go there, Tai will merge with you. And threads come out of that field and go to the third eye in Zhao's head. But the protection barrier that Yin had made on his heart prevents Tai from controlling him, and quickly Gao tries to escape. But Xiao manages to grab him and restrain him, and tells him, "Are you going to Yin so he can help you? But you do not know that he will kill you in the end. The only solution to stop Tai is that he waits until Tai merges with you and then kills you." So Gao remembers Yin's words when he said that he will not hesitate to kill him. And suddenly Xiao throws him into the field. So Tai starts feeding from that field and becomes stronger, and unfortunately if he stays like this for a little longer, he will destroy the barrier that Yin had made, and then Tai will take control over Zhao's body. But Zhao resists with all his strength and tries to get out. But every time he gets up, Xiao hits him and makes him fall again, and he tries to deceive him and let him know the benefits that he will get when he merges with Tai. But Zhao does not believe him and screams loudly, and he manages to return Tai to its place again. And on the other side, Yin feels that the barrier that he had made to protect Gao has been severely damaged, but he is not able to go and help him because the monsters do not die and come back again. But he does not give up and uses his power to destroy the monsters, and during that, Awa is injured, but she endures herself and gets up so she can help Yin in the battle, and she manages to catch up to him before the monster hits him. So Yin goes to the other monster and stabs it with the sword, but suddenly the monster hits him with the scythe that it has as well and causes him severe damage. And at the same time, a monster attacks Awa and injures her in her leg, and comes down on her with his sword and is about to kill her. But Yin reaches her and makes a defensive barrier on her, and goes to the monsters and uses a powerful spell, and he manages to destroy them all. But suddenly many monsters appear stronger than them, and they rush at Yin together. And during that, Zhao gets up from the ground, and finds a candlestick lit with fire, so he runs to it quickly and takes it and throws it at Xiao. But Xiao manages to block it, and throw it into the field, and suddenly the field starts to burn, so Zhao gets an idea in his head that he should burn the whole field, and indeed he runs to all the candlesticks that are there so he can carry out his plan. And while Yin is fighting the monsters, suddenly he finds that the monsters are dying on their own, because Gao is burning Tai's energy threads from them. And at the same time, Xiao grabs Gao and feeds him with energy, but suddenly Yin comes at the right time, and catches him at the last moment, and returns Tai to Zhao's body again. And he uses his energy and purifies the whole place from Tai's threads, so Xiao gets angry and attacks him, and tries to restrain him, but Yin blocks all his attacks and clashes with him, and jumps into the air and hits him with his sword, and he manages to defeat him and cancel his control over Z. So Z apologizes to him for what happened, and tells him how Xiao controlled her. And Z heals his wounds with her magic, so Yin thanks her and leaves. But she calls out to him, and tells him, I have the ability to see the future. Be careful because your death is near. And after that they get out of the place that they are in, and Zai decides that she will go with them to the hotel, so she can help them get rid of Xiao, who will keep attacking them all the time. And then Yin goes to his king, so he can ask him about a way to destroy Tai, without having to kill Gao. So he tells him there is no solution except that one of you must die. And after that Gao wakes up from sleep, and he is happy that finally he will go to the college tomorrow. But suddenly he hears the sound of the door knocking on him, and when he opens he finds Juan and Z. And Z tells him, I came here specifically so I can warn you, you will face 3 disasters tomorrow that will prevent you from going to the college. But Zhao does not believe her and goes to continue his sleep. And on the next day, Zhao and Yin prepare themselves so they can go to the college together. And as soon as they go down to the street, and Dao comes to cross the street, suddenly a giant frog rushes at him. And this is the first disaster that he will face today. And an old man appears next to him and asks him for help, and tells him, I am a person who died 10 years ago. And I want you to help me find my wife, because I will not be able to find her alone, because I lost my sight, and also I am afraid that my body will disappear without me seeing her. So Zhao becomes surprised that the old man was able to see him, but the old man was able to see Tai's threads coming out of Gao, and that is why the man called for his help, and he tells him that 10 years ago he argued with his wife, and left the house and went away, but he was not able to return home again. So Gao feels sorry for the man and decides that he will help him. So the man tells him a special mark in his house. So as soon as Zhao sees it he will recognize it immediately. And after that Zhao and Yin go and search for the house of the old man, but they keep searching a lot and do not find anything, so they return to the old man again and inform him of what happened. So the man loses hope and thanks Gao and gets up so he can leave, but Zhao does not give up because he saw that the old man was very sad, and he takes himself and returns to search again. And after a long and hard search, Zhao finally manages to find the house of the old man, but Yin feels that there is no human energy present here, so Zhao becomes sad that he was not able to fulfill the old man's wish, but Yin communicates with Zi through her hair that he took from her, and asks her about the location of the man's wife. And after that the 3 of them go to the cemetery, and they find the grave of the old man's wife there after she died, so the old man cries over her loss. But suddenly the ghost of his wife appears in front of him, so the man hugs her and is happy that he finally saw her, and she tells him, after we argued, I kept searching for you for many years, but I did not find you. And suddenly both of their bodies start to disappear, so the old man thanks Zhao for helping him, and the 2 of them disappear forever. And after that Zhao leaves while he is happy with Yin. So Yin tells him what happened today was one of the disasters that Z told you about. And also everything that happened was not real, and we both shared the same dream, and suddenly a strong storm happens in the place. And suddenly Yin wakes up from his sleep, and when he goes to Gao's room so he can check on him, he finds that he is not there. And at the same time Dao wakes up from sleep, but this time he finds himself in the cemetery, and the one who brought him there was Tai himself. So he can be able to control him and merge with him. And quickly Yin moves toward the cemetery so he can catch Gao, but when he reaches there the time has passed, and Tai manages to break the barrier that is on Zhao's heart, and takes control over him. And this is the second disaster that will happen to Gao, so Yin rushes at him so he can return him again. But Tai brings out his threads and stops his strike, and the 2 of them clash together. But in the end Yin manages to make a magic circle and fix him in it, and goes to his third eye, and uses his energy so he can return Tai to Zhao's body again. And after that, Gao dreams that he is in his own world and sitting drawing, but suddenly Tai appears in front of him and calls out to him. So Zhao gets shocked as soon as he sees him and wakes up from sleep immediately, and he finds Yin and Z in front of him, but he wants to drink so he extends his hands so he can get the cup of water. And suddenly Tai's threads appear and bring the cup and give it to him. So Zia tells him Tai took you to the cemetery yesterday and controlled you. Now he has become able to move inside your body more freely, meaning sometimes he might hear your thoughts. And this is very dangerous, because he also managed to penetrate your mind, In the worst cases, he might use you like a puppet now. The only solution so you can control Tai is that you do not reveal your desires in front of him. So Zhao asks them about the time and learns from them that he is late for the last day of application. So he takes his bag and moves quickly. But Z warns him that he has passed 2 of the disasters, and now there is 1 very dangerous left. And after that, Gao runs in the street so he can catch up before the day ends. But suddenly the girl who fights with Awa every time comes and hits him and makes him fall into the lake. But as soon as she sees Yin next to her, she becomes very scared and runs away. And then Zhao gets out of the water, but he hears on the university microphones that the application day has ended. So Zhao becomes very sad and starts crying. So Yin takes him and they walk a little so he can comfort him. And while they are standing talking, Zhao holds his head and feels severe pain. And suddenly the 2 of them see 2 coffins falling from the sky. So they run quickly to the place where the 2 coffins fell. So he opens one of the coffins and a monster comes out of it in the form of a great warrior. And from here the last disaster that will happen to Zhao begins. So Zhao looks at Yin and finds him standing shocked when he sees that warrior. And suddenly the monster appears in front of them and tries to hit them. But Yin pushes Zhao away and dodges the strike, and throws his energy at him. But the monster blocks the strike and throws his axe at him and hits him in his shoulder, and quickly Zhao throws a brick at the warrior. So the monster pulls the axe from Yin's shoulder and gets closer to him so he can hit him. But suddenly Awa and the girl who fights with her appear and hit the warrior, and the 2 of them cooperate together and rush at the monster so they can kill him. And at the same time, Zhao goes to Yin so he can understand from him who this warrior is. But Yin refuses to talk, and suddenly Tai speaks to Gao in his head and tells him you do not want to help Yin, right? But Gao remembers Yin's words and tries not to reveal his desire in front of Tai. But Tai brings out threads from Zhao's body and goes to the heart of the warrior so he can see his memories. And we return to the past. At that time Yin's father stands in front of the emperor and takes from him a mission that he explores one of the forests, so they can bring from it a medicine and treat the emperor. But as soon as they reach there, they find a large number of bodies on the ground, and also poisonous gas surrounds the forest. So they are forced to stop and prepare so they can return again. But the emperor calls them so they can continue on their way. So the leader of the soldiers, who is Yin's father at that time, is forced to continue, even though he knows that the path is very dangerous. And when they reach the end of the path, they see a pit that has many dead bodies in it, and the surprise is that Tai is the reason for that. And suddenly the army is surrounded by enemy soldiers, and they kill them all. But Yin's father manages to escape with the emperor and 2 of his men. So Yin's father asks the emperor while he is angry about the real reason for this mission. So the emperor tells him, in reality I came here so I can feed Tai with the lives of the soldiers. The enemy who attacked us was also from my planning. So Yin's father and his men prepare so they can attack him. But the emperor threatens him that he will kill his son Yin. And on the other side, Yin and his mother stand in front of the pit that has Tai, and the enemy soldiers force them to jump into it. But suddenly Tai gets out of control and kills all the soldiers that are present, and also kills Yin's mother in front of his eyes. And after a while, Yin's father manages to save him, and goes with his men and hides in one of the houses. And he learns from his friend that Yin managed to stop Tai's power toward him, and that means that he is the new hero who will stop Tai. So Yin's father's friend tells him, the only solution so we can defeat Tai is the king's secret art, and no one can endure learning this art, because whoever learns it his life gets destroyed after that, and the only one who can learn it is the hero only. But Yin is too young to go to the king of the underworld so he can learn it. But at the same time, Tai goes to the place where they are hiding so he can kill Yin before he destroys him in the future. And suddenly a giant insect jumps on them, but quickly a warrior with Yin's father grabs his axe and destroys it. But suddenly they find themselves surrounded by a large number of insects, so they keep killing them and get out of the place so they can escape. But they find many insects coming at them, and Tai is embodied in a giant insect. So Yin's father decides that he will go to the underworld and learn the king's secret art, so he can stop Tai until Yin grows up. And as soon as he reaches there, he stands in front of the king of the underworld and asks him that he learns his art. So the king tells him about its harm on his life and teaches him the art. And we return to the present, and Gao learns that the warrior that they are fighting is Yin's father, and he understands why Yin is hesitant to attack him. So Tai plays with his mind so he can attack the warrior himself, because he wants to discover his desires and control him. But he stands hesitant and does not know what to do. And on the other side, Awa and the girl with her attack Yin's father, but Yin's father uses a magical spell and manages to paralyze their movement, and jumps into the air and is about to kill them. But suddenly Yin gets up and hits him with his energy, and from the strength of the hit his father's helmet falls off, and it appears that he has no head, so Yin holds the helmet and remembers the old days. So the monster rushes at Yin so he can hit him, but quickly Zhao goes to him and blocks him from him, and clashes with him with the power of Tai inside him. But he reaches his limit and he will not be able to endure more than that. So he looks at Yin and calls him so he can come help him. But Yin is drowned in his memories, and the monster manages to throw him away, and jumps on him so he can kill him. But suddenly Yin comes at the last moment and uses one of his spells, and manages to destroy him completely, and after that immediately, he opens the second coffin, and the second warrior comes out of it, who is Yin's father's close friend. He rushes at Yin so he can kill him. But suddenly Zhuan and Guan appear and throw a rocket at him, and the two of them rush at him and fight together, and Zhuan throws at him a magical paper, and creates a giant explosion. And he thinks that he has destroyed him and defeated him, but suddenly the warrior appears behind him, and grabs him from his leg. But quickly Yin takes out his sword and cuts the warrior with it. But the warrior does not die and two copies of him appear. So one copy runs toward them, so Yin uses his magic and destroys it, but two others appear in its place, and Yin discovers that every time he kills him more copies come out of him, so the original warrior rushes at Yin himself so he can kill him, and the rest of the copies attack the others so they can stop them. So Zhao hesitates to enter the battle with them so Tai does not know his desires, and Gao is forced to use a small part of Tai's power, and throws threads at the warrior so he can know his past. And we return to the past. At that time this warrior used to keep training Yin and playing with him, but when Yin grows older, he issues a decision that he cuts his head, so this warrior vows that if he gets the chance he will kill him. And we return to the present again, and at that time the warrior grabs Yin by his head, and tells him you killed your brothers and your father so you can take the throne all alone, and throws him to the ground. So Zhao tells him you do not have any evidence that proves that Yin is the one who killed his father. I saw your memory and did not find anything. So the warrior gets angry at him and throws the axe at him. But suddenly Yin gets up from the ground and takes his sword and blocks the strike, and tells him what happened in the village that day. I have no fault in it. And we return to the past again. At that time Yin is sitting with his father's favorite friend, and they prepare themselves so they can go to the king who is his father, because today is his birthday. And when they reach the city the atmosphere is very beautiful and wonderful, and Yin runs quickly so he can go to his father. And as soon as they go to his palace, he finds his two brothers gathering the soldiers and going on a mission. So when Yin asks them where they are going they tell him that a soldier reported that the warrior returned to the city, and they must make a reception worthy of him, so Yin wants to go with them. So he wears his armor and takes his sword and runs after them so he can catch them. But his father's friend tries to stop him from going. But suddenly when they reach them, he finds that his brothers were betrayed, and they were killed after the enemy soldiers attacked them. So Yin goes to their bodies, and cries over them intensely, and from here one of the common people sees him, and reports that Yin is the one who killed his brothers. And suddenly panic spreads among the people, because there are soldiers who appeared in the city and kill anyone in front of them. So Yin gets up from the ground and runs quickly so he can catch his father. And when he meets any soldier in his path he kills them. And after a while he finally reaches his father, and finds him sitting with the emperor. And the emperor tells him, do you not remember me? I am the one who killed your mother and destroyed this village now. So Yin gets very angry and strikes at him with the sword. But his father shouts at him so he can lower the sword, because if he kills the emperor, all the people outside will die. And when Yin looks behind him, he finds his father's friend dead hanged. But Yin is very angry and wants to strike him, but his father stops him again and asks the emperor to release the clan and his son and kill him only. So the emperor agrees and goes out. And after he leaves, Yin's father asks him to kill him, but of course Yin refuses. But his father insists on his words, because if he does not do that they will all die. So the emperor gives them a deadline of 5 seconds, that Yin kills his father, otherwise he will kill all the people of the village. And he kills one of them now, so he can prove that he is serious. So his father shouts at him so he can stab the sword into him, but Yin is not able to do it, and the emperor starts the countdown. And at the last second, the father runs to Yin and stabs the sword into himself. And the emperor did that because he thought that Yin's father is the hero who is supposed to kill Tai. He does not know that Yin himself is the hero, and of course his father sacrificed himself so he can let his son live, and tells him take my head and give it to the emperor and live your life. But before he dies, he tells him the secret that he kept hiding from him for years, that he is the hero. And after that the emperor takes Yin's father's head, and goes to the secret door that has Tai's core, so he can tell him that he killed the hero and give him some energy. So threads come out from behind the door and wrap around the emperor. So he becomes happy that he will finally take energy from Tai. But suddenly Tai pulls all the emperor's energy, so the emperor feels pain and becomes very surprised, because he does not know that Yin's father is not the real hero. and we return to the present again, and after the warrior hears the real story from Yin, he holds his head from the pain, but suddenly Xiao controls him through Tai's needle, and makes him attack Yin, so Yin makes a magical barrier and blocks his attack, so Zhao uses Tai's power and manages to destroy the copies of the warrior. And during that, Z comes out from the hotel and runs quickly to the battlefield, because she was able to see Zhao's future, and knew that there is a disaster that will happen to him. And at the same time, the warrior hits Zhao and traps him in the coffin. So Gao tries to get out from there, but suddenly he feels that Tai is penetrating his dreams, and tells him I can get you out of here if that is your desire. He brings out threads from his body and binds Zhao with them. And on the other side, both Guan and Zhuan try to blow up the coffin and get Yin out of it quickly, and during that Yin tries to hit the warrior, but he is weak in front of him, and clashes with him in a very strong clash. But suddenly the warrior takes out his axe and manages to injure Yin severely. And at the same time, Z is running at her maximum speed so she can catch Gao, but she meets Xiao on her way, and he stands in front of her and tries to stop her, and makes a magic circle under her and traps her in it. And he brings out a doll in the shape of the warrior, and stabs in it an additional Tai needle, so he can give him more power. So Z asks him, "Who are you?" So Xiao answers her, "I am Tai himself," and a third eye appears on Xiao's head, and Xiao brings out a doll in the shape of Z, and stabs in it a Tai needle and controls her. And on the other side, Tai is about to take control over Gao's mind, but suddenly Zhao wakes up and resists him, and manages to escape from him. So Tai tells him, "I am sure that you need me so you can help Yin and the others," but Gao refuses to listen to his words, and tries to resist him again. And while Yin is fighting the warrior, he looks at the coffin, and knows that Tai is about to break into Gao's world, so he asks the warrior to leave him so he can catch the world before it ends, but the warrior refuses and wants to kill him, so Yin gathers all his energy, and uses the king's secret art. But the warrior does not stay silent as well, and gathers his power and prepares for the fight, and the two of them rush at each other and enter into a strong clash. And they keep attacking each other, and Yin throws at him a large amount of energy, but the warrior manages to block it, and gathers all his power again and rushes at him. But in the end Yin manages to stab his sword into the warrior's heart, and destroys the needle controlling him. So the warrior tells him before he dies, "I was sure that there was something in the rumors about you, but I refuse to believe the truth. I apologize to you very much." And after that the warrior dies forever. And then, Zhao comes out of the coffin, after Tai has completely taken control over his body, and Yin stands in front of him and prepares so he can face him, so Tai rushes at him and tries to hit him, and they clash with each other in a strong clash, so Yin manages to cut Tai's hand. But Tai brings out a new hand and rushes at him and tries to hit him, and he jumps on him strongly and pins him to the ground. But suddenly Yin throws at him a large amount of his energy into his stomach, and manages to destroy a very large part of Tai's body, and gets closer to him so he can kill him completely. But Tai tells him, "If you kill me now, your friend will die with me." So Yin hesitates and does not know what to do. But when he decides that he will kill Gao, suddenly Tai brings out many threads and stabs them into Yin's body. So Yin bleeds heavily, but he quickly gets up so he can continue fighting Tai, and jumps up so he can stab the sword into him and kill him. But suddenly he sees Gao in front of him and is not able to kill him, and he puts his hand on his head and uses his energy so he can stop Tai only. And after a while, Zhao wakes up from sleep, and he is very happy that they managed to defeat the warrior and Tai together. So Z comes from behind them, and asks Yin to forgive her. And suddenly Xiao appears behind Gao, and puts his hand on his head, and uses his energy and manages to destroy the barrier that Yin made on him, and brings Tai back again. So Yin tries to stop him and hit him, but Xiao dodges his strike. So the others rush at him and try to hit him, but Xiao is faster than everyone, and he also manages to hit them and throw them away. So Yin runs at him so he can kill him, and throws a large amount of energy toward him, but Xiao makes a defensive barrier and blocks it, and rushes at him and clashes with him. And once he throws Tai needles on the ground, and makes a magic circle around Yin, and suddenly sharp branches come out and stab Yin all over his body. So they all look at him and cannot believe what is happening. So Zhao says, "All this time you were the one protecting me, and I could not do anything. But I will protect you this time." And suddenly Zhao gathers a large amount of energy, and runs at Xiao and manages to cut his hand before he kills Yin, and punches him in his face and throws him away. And we learn that Gao asked Tai to merge with him so he can kill Xiao and save Yin, and he extends his hand so he can take his energy and control him. And after that Gao rushes at Xiao again and hits him. So Xiao becomes surprised that Tai is attacking him, because he is supposed to be trying as much as possible to break the restraints on him. And he gets very angry at him and tries to hit him, but Zhao dodges his strikes, and they rush at each other and clash in a very strong clash. And Gao hits him with a powerful strike, and manages to make a big hole in his body, but Xiao cannot believe that Zhao managed to control Tai, because throughout history it never happened. So Zhao rushes at him and keeps hitting him, and in the end he manages to shatter his body into pieces. But suddenly Xiao heals his body again, and looks at him while angry, and brings out tie needles and throws them on the ground. So sharp branches come out and surround him with them, but Gao manages to destroy all the branches, and jumps into the air and punches him in his face. But Xiao does not give up, and brings out many needles and keeps throwing them at him. So Zhao tries to escape from these strikes, but in the end Xiao stabs a very large number of them into his body, and laughs at him because he thinks that he has defeated him now, but suddenly Zhao removes all the needles that are in his body, and rushes at him quickly and hits him in his stomach and throws him away. And he runs at him and hits him in the air with powerful strikes, and grabs him by his neck and slams him hard into the ground, and goes to him and brings out threads from his body and binds him, and starts absorbing all of Xiao's energy, so he feels severe pain and in the end he dies. So the others look at Zhao and they are very afraid, because the amount of energy that he took from Xiao will make him lose control over Tai and destroy the whole world, and they try to call him so they can bring him back to his senses. But he does not respond to them, so Yin gets closer to him slowly, and finds that he has completely turned into Tai, and it will not be possible to restrain him like before. And the solution so he can save the world is that he kills Tai and Gao together. So Yin remembers his moments with Gao, and gets closer to him so he can talk with him. But the time has already passed, and before Zhao loses his consciousness completely, he asks Yin to kill him quickly, and not hesitate like every time, because he does not want to destroy the world. And after that Tai controls the body and uses his energy and devours all the energies of the living beings that are in the world. And people from everywhere start losing their consciousness and faint. So Yin looks at him and realizes that there is no solution except that he kills him, and holds his sword and prepares for the fight, and tears fall on his cheek while he moves, and gathers all his power and rushes at him, and stabs his sword into his third eye, and suddenly a big explosion happens, and Yin manages to defeat him finally. And after that Juan wakes up and finds Z sitting sad, and asks her about Yin, so she tells him that he finished his mission and left, and Gao also died. And she remembers when she asked Yin why you do not kill Zhao, so he tells her because I saw in his eyes my dreams that I did not achieve. I wanted him to live and achieve his dreams. And on the other side, Awa goes and talks with Zhan, and tells him as far as I know, Tai never dies at all, no one can do anything except restrain him only. And at the same time Xiao appears while holding a box in his hand, and goes to his queen who created Tai, so she can bring him back to life again, and gives her the box that has Zhao's head in it, and she takes the head so she can pull Tai out from it. But suddenly she does not find Tai inside Zhao's body, so Xiao becomes surprised because he is sure that Yin killed Tai in front of him, and they discover that Yin did not kill Zhao in the end.